because I think that these are two teams that have shown us a lot of different options, a lot of different play styles, and a lot of, like we said, that macro focus. So, yeah, that last game was a long one, Joshi. I know people, if you fell asleep because of the downtime that existed, it's wake up, it's fine. This is a new game, but I hate to say this might be a long one too. We'll see.
Yeah, but I think it'll be a game that has a lot more activity, right? Like, just because a game is long doesn't mean that nothing is happening. And so we'll see how that ends up playing out. We're seeing pretty standard bans coming across the board. The Udyr is going to protect things like the Nidalee, Lilia, and the Taliyah, likely going to be going over for Potluck, whereas red side kind of forced to ban away the Seraphine, the Pantheon, and the Olaf, just so that your opposing team doesn't have an opportunity to first pick them. And I'm expecting to see that that is going to be the exact same thing you're coming up for CLG.
Taliyah, Udyr, Pantheon jungle bans, Renekton, and Seraphine as the, I guess, solo laner ban. Seraphine also being very common in that bottom half of the map. And Camille to answer out here. So yeah, CLG really respecting Tapoon in particular, which is a player that you highlighted.
Olaf is available. That's scary. I feel like IMT are at a spot where, like, they weren't. Wait, they didn't ban. Do we pick it? We didn't practice it because we expected it to be banned.
Wait.
Okay.
No anti Oriana. Okay, the Olaf makes the most sense here, right? This has been dominating in pretty much every region it's played in. It's one of the biggest first pick. I think it's got to have, if not 100%, close to 100% presence in pick and ban. The answer being Graves Kai'Sa. CLG watching that triple marksman comp thinking, hey, we want some of that in this game.
All right, yeah, so Graves is one of the few junglers that can actually stand up to Olaf, but he really needs to take Ignite if he wants to do that. And even then, it makes the game very coin flippy overall. And so far, with two squishy characters already picked up for CLG, it makes the Jhin a lot better because you are able to do enough damage to these individual members. And you kind of get this weird interaction between Jhin and Kai'Sa, where Jhin just wants to hit you, and Kai'Sa is going to try and blow you up almost instantly. So you have two very different styles coming through, and of course, Jhin, better setup for the Olaf if they ever come down.
And also, I gotta check the stats to actually confirm, but I believe that Keith has been playing exclusively Jhin so far. Yeah, he's played Jhin 4 games in a row now. Wow. Or no, I guess he had a Kalista game in there. Okay, interesting. Okay. But still, he plays a lot of Jhin. That's the point. He likes this champion. This is something that's in his wheelhouse and very comfortable, and we have seen very popular in the meta. So big pickup for Immortals.
Yeah, I like this Gragas blind too. You can flex it into the top lane. You can flex it into the support role. The Leona, a little bit more obvious where that's going. But so far, both compositions seem very plausible. I'm a little bit surprised that the Olaf was given over at all, but it's now going to put the onus on Potluck to actually take this and be effective early on in the game. And we actually have a lot of solo laners that need to get picked up. Neither side has grabbed a mid laner.
Yeah, we should have counter picks galore here between CLG and Immortals, but that means that we get to pinch those pools a little bit more as well. The top lane, we already saw the Camille and the Renekton go away. Now focus on the mid lane as TF taken off the table. Yeah, the TF comboed with that Olaf would have been very scary for CLG to deal with because TF great at following up on those diving junglers, but there's still a lot of other choices. That Orianna was covered earlier. Syndra's been very popular. So if we're trying to pinch that mid lane pool, there's still a lot on the table.
Yeah, the Gnar ban, actually. So again, we're seeing very little Gnar Renekton, which was dominating the top lane yesterday.
That was your wish. You said that going into today.
I
hope
Gnar.
we don't see it.
It was a prediction. But it's just like, it's not that good. It's just like both top laners are opting into just being okay at doing everything. And now we're seeing a little bit more specialization, as with so many mid lane bans coming through, it feels to me almost like they're trying to protect this Gragas up in the top lane. So I'd be curious to see what they end up doing with the rest of their draft. That one's not getting picked.
I want to see Syndra locked in here for CLG Academy. I feel like that's probably the best remaining blind pick mid lane if you're going to go for one right now. Otherwise, I guess you could just pick something into that Gragas if you want. But the Syndra, it's not only a good pick for you right now to follow up with the Kai'Sa, set up the Kai'Sa. You got that AP AD jungle, or between mid and jungle, but it also takes away from Immortals as a good blind pick for them. So it is locked in. I like that.
Yeah. All right, Syndra does a pretty decent job at playing with the rest of his team. While the rest of the team is a bit more aggressive in going forward, Syndra is able to create enough space and is actually a bit of a secondary engage tool. So I really like this coming out for RJS. Classic matchup there in the mid lane. Not a whole lot of surprise, but the real question is, what are they going to be picking up? Are they going to be grabbing a top laner, or are they going to be grabbing a support?
I mean, there's still a lot of supports on the table. I think Thresh is probably one of the obvious answers here. If Leona tries to go in, you can just flay her away. It provides that extra bit of mobility, not just for Jhin, but also for Olaf. If Olaf tries to run in and then says, nope, that wasn't the play, I got to get out of here, that Lantern is that get out of jail free card. But though, they're opting for just more engaged. Alistar plus Orianna combo. They got Gragas, they got Olaf. This is a run them down kind of team.
Yeah, I'm honestly really liking this coming out so far from the Immortals side. They have a lot of early power, and they do decently well into the mid and later stages of the game. This Rumble would be a bit surprising, not something we tend to see all that much at this point in the game. And are they going to actually lock it in? It looks like with only a second left, that is going to be the answer. So,
wow,
I had a theory a long time ago, Kingus, that Gragas, Rumble, Urgot are all part of the same class of top laners. They all have effectively free wave clear, sustain, and or a shield, so they're impossible to trade against. And now the question becomes, which of these two is actually going to have a better time doing it? Gragas with the sustain, or Rumble with no mana?
Can I answer this question?
Yes, Kangas in the third row.
Oh, okay, that's me. That's me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at an Olaf. I'm looking at his
Olaf
ultimate
wins.
and the ability to run down Rumble. Really can't do much to stop that. So yes, we can talk about the top lane matchup in a vacuum, but I am very concerned about this pick. Like, this is... There's not a lot of safety in this one. If Olaf decides to put his attention on the top half of the map, I feel like Brandini is going to have a really tough time actually avoiding some of these ganks. Once Tapun's level 6, one barrel pretty much guarantees death for Brandini unless he has flash up. So, hey, it's something new. It's something exciting. Let's hop into the game and see if it works out for CLG Academy. Definitely a new look. And hey, it's still early enough in the season. They got a little bit of time to play around with it. But we're on to the Rift, Joshi. Immortals Academy versus CLG Academy to round out our Week 2, Day 2 of the LCS Academy stream. So, what are your thoughts? I mean,
I have a lot of thoughts.
Okay, so I just want to hear you talk for a bit. Just go for it.
Yeah, so I'm thinking more about this Rumble, because you already talked about the fact that it is very vulnerable to ganks from the Grux and the Olaf, especially after level 6. It also doesn't do a whole lot for the rest of CLG. You already have sufficient magic damage on your team. What you're really missing is people to kind of stand in front or help the dive. And the one thing that the Rumble is going to be doing is creating the red carpet for Team Luke to try and kite back on. But that's not normally how Kai'Sa gets away from Olaf anyway. Kai'Sa is normally going to be like, oh, hey, Olaf, I want to go hit your friends 1,000 units that way, where you are not, and now you're going to have to run at me. So it scares me a little bit that this is what they're going for, but it is a comfort pick for Brandini, I hope.
It's because, again, we talked about this already. Immortals, that carpet goes down, they say, cool, we're just going to run past it, because that's what we want to do anyway. You know, like, we are a run-forward composition. It's not like a kite-back, stand in one position and play the zoning. It's, no, everyone run forward. Jhin will be miles away with his ult. Pretty will be probably the easiest one to hit with that, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I don't want to be too critical because we haven't seen Rumble in a while. Maybe there's some dark technology, some secret text with the new items, some big things coming out of Brandini here. We'll wait with bated breath as early on there's some trading between the two of them. Tapun is opting for the Grasp of the Undying, so most likely going that tank build.
Yeah. The other big thing that I want to highlight early on in this game is the fact that Kill often go with the Flash rather than the Ignite. Personally, this is my preference. I like the Flash better because Ignite kind of pigeonholes you into being effective early on in the game. But it means that it's going to be much more difficult for him to actually interact with the Olaf later on. He's not going to be able to win any of these duels, and that can be very, very dangerous for the rest of the team as they start looking at that, because they won't be able to rely on Kill showing up and just beating up the Olaf when they show up for counter ganks.
I think the big thing I'm looking at for Keel right now is how well is he able to play around RJS, because I was critical of RJS's play yesterday, but I know that this player has the potential to have these big performances. And the first thing I thought when I saw that Leona locked in was Leona roams mid for a Syndra are very strong. You pair that with a Graves Burst, that's a lot of blow-up potential if they can get on top of Pretty. So I feel like Keel's focus here, if I'm thinking like best case scenario, probably isn't thinking, okay, how do I fight Potluck? It's how do I just make sure that mid lane is comfortable, make sure that RJS is ahead, because if this Syndra can pop people, other than the Alistair and Gragas, gonna have a pretty easy job of that.
Yeah. And right now, seeing pretty standard jungle clears from both of them. Full clear off to the side. Graves is now doing the the Krugs as his last camp. Both can be able to have an opportunity to back away. And as we take stock of like where the lanes are going, it is remarkably even across the map. The largest difference in CS is in the top lane, where it is 4, right? Like both these teams are just in a very simple spot, and a lot of them are being so ultimate dependent. I don't expect to necessarily see a whole lot of aggression from CLG until level 6, which kind of puts the onus on Potluck to do things before these ultimates come online. And look at this, Joey, the top side of the map.
Yeah, the cow roaming around, got those boots with that first back, just gets a control ward down. That actually is a pretty useful control ward to have at this point in the game, and is still hovering up here. This might be a 3-man gank onto Brandini. He's not going to expect the cow. There's just no he's dead.
Brutal.
Brandini's so screwed right now. Yeah, headbutted away, says, why is there an Alistair in the top tri-bush? First blood to Tapoon.
Yeah, good job to Joey. This is kind of one of the reasons that we were highlighting him before the game started, was because he is so willing to make these plays across the map. He is so forward moving, and now as he gets this down, he's going to clear out some vision as well, make sure that Potluck is in a good spot, and we're already seeing these duos start to roam around. Oh, Joey is here.
He's got flash headbutt pulverize. RJS just teleported in. Oh, he's walked way too far forward. Watch this.
But look at this. There's other 2v2.
Lands. There it goes. There's the slow, but Keel is in the neighborhood, and so is Hook. So I think that CLG actually, they might have wanted Immortals to go in right there. I think that RGS, if he had baited a little bit more, could have gotten Immortals in a pretty rough position, but no, it's going to be a fight over. Come out ahead. Oh man, that was... Neither team knew that the enemy supports were there. Joey was still roaming around, Hooks was in the shadow, and now Potluck could be in some trouble here as Keel jumps over the wall with that blast cone, looking for these Krugs, stealing them away from Potluck. Keith is in the area, but I think with Hooks here, Keel is still feeling pretty confident. Ooh. Yeah, they just engage straight in onto Keith. There's cleanse down immediately. He's got the flash. He's actually confident enough to walk forward. Takes a huge chunk of damage.
Wow. I'm surprised that Keith was willing to just walk forward in that position. I feel like you had to know Hooks was also there. I wish we could break down what happened in that fight, but all right, we're going to get a replay of it. Perfect. Thank you, producers, for being right there to start it off. And we get to see that they try and get the kill, but there's a bit of a difference in anticipation between Joey and Potluck, right? Joey's like, oh, we're going to jump on this Graves and we're going to kill him dead. And Potluck is like, oh, wait, I just wanted his flash and was going to leave after that. And so it's kind of like why Joey's been so successful is he's willing to go for these plays that other teams aren't reacting to, but you have to do it in such a way that your own team is going to react to it as well. Now that he's on this ward, he might get punished.
RJS was also faster on the roam right there, so big play for the mid lane. And now Hook's just walking up onto Joey, says, okay, yeah, we'll just take you down. We know you don't have flash. And they'll easily pick up that kill. Gold goes over to Team Luke. CLG with 2 quick picks onto Joey.
Wow. Yeah, okay, we said that it wasn't going to be a boring game, and we definitely don't have that. Joey contributing super heavily to the first kill, but also his team's first 2 deaths at this point. And I think we got a lot of game left to play, right? Olaf's still very strong, and Joey, even though he's a little bit behind, his abilities still do the same amount of crowd control as they would regardless of what level he is. So still very able to be active on the map.
I think the big thing, though, is that Team Luke got that kill. So the Kaisa will be online just a little bit faster. We see where that bag has the Moon Quiver to Keith's Swifty boots. So when we're just doing stat checking, I think that Team Luke is in a pretty good position right now. And that's what I like to see out of CLG that we didn't see with Wild Turtle. They had a play yesterday with Wild Turtle where they got Flash Cleanse out of the enemy Aphelios, but then they never returned for that. But this time around, Hooks roams up, gets Summoners out of Joey and a kill, and then boom, kill immediately on the bottom side to punish that. That's what we weren't seeing yesterday, but we were seeing last week, and I'm happy to see that again for CLG.
Yeah, here we go. We got the Herald started up by the side of Immortals, and it doesn't look like CLG is likely going to be in a position to contest it. They are going to be able to burn it down quickly enough, and it is going to allow Keel to farm a little bit faster than Olaf, and they might be able to do something with that, but we already see that on the opposite side of the map, the lead is a lot bigger than just the kill. Because Joy has been out of lane for so long, Keith has been having to 1v2, and it is scary to 1v2 against the Kai'Sa Leona. He's been missing out on quite a bit of CS, and it only exacerbated the problem when the first kill went over to the Kai'Sa.
And Joey's also level 4. So if we're looking
Yes.
at this Dragon as the next objective, potentially, Joey's just going to have less stats, less XP towards that level 6. So Hooks might actually be a full level above him if a fight breaks out there, which we actually have seen quite a lot here in Academy, where the supports that roam, yes, you can get some good plays out of those roams, but it puts you individually behind. And hitting level 6 is quite important for things like that first Rift Herald, like that first Dragon. So Herald is on Potluck. We're going to have to wait and see where he decides to put it. I think that there's a strong argument for the spot side trying to funnel some more gold in onto the Jhin, but I don't think that they're necessarily in a rush to drop it down right now.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They're also not in a position to try and contest this Dragon because there's no teleport on Tapoon. Brandini has his, and of course CLG are first to the punch. They're going to be grabbing this first one, and they are going to be spawning the next one as a Mountain Dragon, leaving the Infernal and Cloud as the last two. And I think they would be much happier if they were able to pick up an Infernal Dragon this game, because they actually have a ton of damage, and a lot of people that are going to be building decent amounts of both AD and AP, and getting a percentage increase on that is very, very impactful as these fights go on.
That feel fantastic for CLG Academy. They got that first one. Can they keep stacking them is the next mission. And I mean, when I look at their compositions, I do favor Syndra push a little bit in the early game here, so theoretically they should have the ability to roam and get that, but actually it's Keel getting roamed in on right now. He's on his Krugs, but he does not see the enemy nearby. Pretty has ultimate shockwaves available. There's the ult used by Keel trying to get away, but he's got no backup in the top lane. Tapoon just runs past Brandini and gets a kill in onto Keel. Not in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, we have a lot of game left to play, King, as they're able to find Keel right before his flash came up. It was actually just a couple of seconds before it was going to come back up. He didn't have an opportunity to use it. Grab a plate for Tapoon, and actually they're going to be dropping this Herald as well in order to give a ton of gold over to this Gragas and enable him to make plays on the rest of the map. So honestly, I really like the fact they are committing to playing around this top side of the map. They're going to be giving Tapoon a lot of resources, and now he can look to return the favor in the bottom lane relatively soon.
Tapoon giving a little bit of a dance. Giving that little Gragas belly dance before that Rift Herald rolled in on there. Some more gold in onto that top laner. Brandini used that ult to try and clear out the wave, but you're right, the Rift Herald does go down. Now let's take a look at the replay here for Keel. Oh, just gets caught on the very edge of it.
Yeah. Not much to do after that. Ends up going down, because again, Flash wasn't available, but it is now, so that repeat play will be a little bit harder, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Potluck go right back up to the top lane. We already touched on the fact that Gragas has a lot of gank assist against Brandini. He's got a lot of crowd control to keep him in one spot, so Potluck can wail on him. And if you're trying to get Tapoon ahead, this is the time to do it. You want to make sure that he is ahead before Rumble starts hitting that level 11 and having a super impactful ultimate for these team fights.
He's already got that mythic item completed, so Tapoon is really ready to go right now. He's kind of stuck in this lane because of how much a Rumble can push, but once these team fights start to break out and Tapoon can get out of this lane, his impact is going to be felt. He's an insane frontliner and a lot of disruption to deal with the likes of the Graves, the likes of the Kai'Sa, who, just like last game, fairly low-range marksman. Pretty takes a decent amount of poke right there coming in from RJS. Hooks is in the neighborhood as well. Both supports have just been constantly out of lane. Like, if we count the amount of time that they spend in lane compared to roaming to the mid, roaming to the top side, that's like 50-50.
Yeah. It's a lot. And we'll see. We actually haven't been seeing as much of Hooks on the top side of the map. He's actually been focusing a little bit more on lane. this game, which is a bit surprising to me, and I think a bit surprising to you as well, based on how much we were talking about how Keel and Hooks like to roam around. Yeah, they won the 2v2, 3v3 towards the mid lane, but other than that, Hooks has just been preventing Keith from farming rather aggressively, and oh.
Okay,
All right.
flash respect from Brandini. I don't know if he needed to do that. There wasn't really a lot of burst potential coming in from a tank Gragas and Potluck there, but he says, my health bar is worth more than my flash at this point in the game. He's just ulting the wave. Brandini playing this very safe. It just comes back to what was the purpose of this Rumble? What was the idea behind the pick? Because so far, it has not been doing too much.
Yeah, as a small CS lead, but it's going to be losing a fair amount of gold up in the top lane as we see a fourth plate going to go over to Top Poon on that side of the map. And in the bottom, we have another dragon spawning in about a minute, which is going to give an opportunity for us to really see these teams go head-to-head for the first time. And we didn't see how, but Keith ends up losing his flash, which could play a big part in this next upcoming fight, which again,
CLG
probably
need
going to
this
happen
drag.
in less than 30 seconds.
They need to make something happen down here because Brandini is about to lose top turret just by himself. He has no backup. Potluck even took the red buff away from Keel. CLG has just said, we are sacking top half of the map. We have to index onto the bottom half, but I think they're a little early on the rotation. They still have to wait 20 seconds before this dragon spawns, so I guess they shove bot, they shove mid, they get some vision down, but yeah, Tapoon says, hey, if you're not going to help your Rumble top lane, I'll just take a free turret. Don't mind me. Can back, reset, even look to TP down to the bottom half for a fight at this dragon. CLG, they're on thin ice right now.
Yeah, pretty already TPs in the mid lane. Tapoon will have his ultimate momentarily, so expect to see him teleport somewhere very shortly.
2 axes onto Keel. Getting chunked out just slightly before this fight starts. Dragon has spawned. And look, Tapoon's just running straight to it. He's not even going to the top side to catch that wave. He's not going to TP instantly. He's trying to save that cooldown because he's already ahead enough. He doesn't necessarily need that wave. And CLG find themselves in the back half of this dragon now. They rotated too early. Yeah, they got some wards down, but they can't hold the position because Immortals have a better rotation. They're going to start up the dragon, and they have full control.
Yeah, you don't want to rotate so early, as you said. Then you lose too many minions. In order to try and recoup your losses, you're going to have to back away. And this is going to reward Immortals with the Mountain Dragon. We are going to be getting an Infernal Rift today, which is going to... I don't know how much of an impact it's going to necessarily have on the map state, but the fast rotations are kind of nice for the Gragas in particular in order to try and affect the rest of the map. But... Oh, Shockwave just... used.
Shockwave used. Tapoon just waves at Keel as he walks by. A lot of strange things happening on Summoner's Rift right now. RJS almost goes down after using Unleashed Power to only take about half of Pretty's health bar. Pretty definitely winning out on that trade. And Immortals, man, they just seem like they're outclassing CLG right now. Like I can't even think of any other way to say it other than just individual performers are doing better.
Well, the goal is still in favor of CLG, so you know, let's not get
fair
too ahead of
It just
ourselves
doesn't
here.
feel like it is.
I already know Twitch.
I'm not
chat
a
is like,
logical
"What is
person, Josh. I go
What
by
is this
feelings.
caster bias?
Ah. I
They're-
forgot about Team
they're
Luke.
so
I think that was the big thing.
Yeah, he's up 30 CS. He's got a kill. He's going to be a significant part of this game, but he still needs to find something. He's got a couple of decent targets, right? He's got Pretty, he's got Keith, and depending on how the rest of the game goes, he might be able to grind down both Potluck and Tapoon, but we haven't necessarily seen the fights that I was expecting from these two teams just quite yet. They have a lot of big team fighting ultimates on both sides. They have a lot of ways to get fights started, but it feels like they're just trading things on the map pretty heavily, and we saw the effect that they had on Brandini, but he's still not really behind. He's just not ahead, which we might have expected, and now Potluck, with the Rift Troll in hand, might be able to get somebody else ahead by taking down this mid lane turret.
Drops it down. Multiple members here. Joey's looking for the engage too. Has the ultimate, has the flash. If RJS steps up too far, he's pretty much dead. But nope. CLG play it safe, play it passively and defensively, and we'll just try and keep the turret alive, but no, it's not meant to be. That Rift Herald will be enough. Immortals just 5-man A-ramming down the mid lane at 17.5 minutes into the game. There's the Rumble ult to try and clear the wave. Get some poke down as well. Good follow-up by RJS. Immortals starting to learn that, yep, sometimes A-ramming is not the best way to play the game at this stage. Yeah, you got the mid turret, so good job on that, but they do back off.
Yeah, and they're still down about 1,000 gold at this point in the game, right? And a big part of that is the fact that they've traded the bot lane turret going over into Team Luke's hands. He now has a completed Gale Force. But they're also down in CS pretty significantly, both in the AD carry position and in the jungle, and also in the top lane. Like, you know, you said that they were outclassing their opponents, but man for man, I'd go for a guess that almost every single one of them is down in gold.
Josh, you're not supposed to remind people of what I said like 2 minutes ago. I was hoping I would just float under the radar. No one would remember.
Caster buys.
CLG's been playing immaculate. They great gameplay in LCS Academy. But no, you are right to highlight that. The Brandini's doing a good job of mitigating the losses. You know, he lost that top turret. He was getting hard focused, but he's come back. He's just been CSing, farming it up, and will eventually be a team fight menace on this Rumble.
Yeah. And it's interesting to contrast this game to the previous game, right? Where in this game, Joey in particular is looking for things to do on the map. Whereas the last game that we saw, people weren't doing things on the map. They were just kind of, you know, setting up defensive wards, walking over to this area so that, you know, if somebody happens to be there, we can prevent them from walking into our jungle. But this time, no. Joey is always in a spot where it's like, well, if this guy steps forward, I'm going to flash on him. Unfortunately, nobody has yet. But
Joey's just got that killer
instinct to watch how
instinct,
aggressive
man.
they are.
He's a fun player to watch for that reason alone. Like he's a player that makes things happen. And while that's kind of ironic to say since nothing big has happened recently, but here we go. Just as I say it, Joey's the one frontlining. Immortals, though, this isn't the engage that they were looking for. It was actually CLG that found a team. Luke just goes so deep and actually finds it. Tapoon tries his best to capitalize on the flashless, ultless Kai'Sa, but cannot find the correct ultimate. Curtain Call used hooks very far forward, but RJS has his back. That's just a clean pickup by CLG. They killed Joey. I don't know if they get much more, though.
Yeah, there's no dragon for another 30 seconds. Rift Herald isn't on the map. Baron has just spawned, so they can't do any of those. But it's going to be interesting to see because they're going to have to fight again rather quickly, but without a whole lot of their ultimates available, right? The Killer Instinct will not be up at the very beginning. The Solar Flare will not be up. Neither will the Unbreakable Will nor the Curtain Call. And the Explosive Cask might be up in a time reasonable, but not necessarily.
Potluck has ult and Orianna has ult. Those are the two I'm looking at. Ooh, flash out from RJS, avoiding that shockwave. That would have meant certain death. But Immortals still happy with that flash. They might just get this drag anyway.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they are willing to just give it over as quickly as they are, but
no.
They can't threaten the Baron.
Not Baron. There's just no way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They thought about it.
They were being cute, but not cute enough. Dragon taken for free by Immortals, despite losing Joey earlier on there. But you're right, Team Luke had to use Flash Cleanse and ult, so without Kai'Sa having all that extra mobility, it's very, very hard for CLG to really approach that Dragon.
Yeah, she doesn't have Collector yet either, so she doesn't have the same kind of damage amp and just executing low members, but this could be dangerous as well. You know Joey is smelling blood, but it looks like both Keel and RGS going to be backing away, so ultimately, still, everything kind of going back to the way we were looking before. We got another couple of minutes before the next dragon's going to be spawning. And the big thing we're going to have to do is pay attention to, again, how does Joey want to move on the map? Is he going to be able to find anything, or is he going to get caught out?
I mean, we've been talking a lot from the Immortal side here, Josh.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back to the CLG perspective. Because first off, I just keep coming to the conclusion, it just feels like CLG are behind, but they're not. They have these insane CS advantages pretty much across the board other than mid lane, but that bot side in particular, Team Luke, is performing very, very well. So CLG are still in a very powerful position despite giving away some of these objectives. So what do they need to look to do right now? Because yeah, Joey's been the one kind of dictating the pace of the game so far, but CLG also have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of it. Oh, not that.
Joey, I don't think that was it. You have no backup from the rest of the team. I understand you're just as frustrated that nothing's happening as we are, but that doesn't mean that you can just int the game. Okay, Team Luke says, I'll be the one to do it. I'll int the game away. He jumps in. No flash or cleanse. Immediately taken down. That's a double kill over to Potluck. CLG might answer it back onto the tank. Tapoon's still alive. all that MR putting in work against the Rumble Syndra combo. Keel can't do enough. Tapoon's still alive. Keel might just go down. Flash forward by Potluck. He's chasing him
Triple
down.
kill.
Now it's Brandini in trouble. RJS as well. Oh, wait, the final shot does go through. Keith snipes at max range, and Brandini falls. This might be Baron to Immortals.
I'm really glad I didn't cast your curse stuff, because I was going to say it's going to be a play from Team Luke, looking to go aggressive onto one of these squishy members, and then before I have a chance to say it, he tries to go for it and instantly gives himself over to the enemy team. CLG end up losing a bunch of kills, but more importantly, they're going to be losing this Baron off the back of it. Because look at this, Joey looks like he gets caught a little bit, and CLG are going to be able to try and go for it, but the big turnaround is Team Luke. He knows Potluck is here. He knows there's a lot of damage all at once. Instantly gets caught, doesn't have the flash or cleanse, and even though he tries to get in, get out, doesn't have enough damage yet. Didn't have the collector. Doesn't have what he needs in order to actually make that play work. If he was a little bit more fed, would have been great. And then, of course, this red carpet that tries to snipe Tapoon, but he just walks away and kind of looks like a fool.
And also, the side laners weren't there. RJS was top, Brandini was bot. They had to TP to get to this fight. So, yeah, that was not the time to go in for CLG. Now they find themselves 2,000 gold down. And Immortals in a powerful position on the map. I guess, I mean, I said, Joey, that wasn't the engage. Maybe it was. Maybe this is Joey's job.
It was an elaborate ruse.
It doesn't matter if I find the right engage. I just have to engage and start something because the rest of the team can follow up.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see how much they can actually get done with this Baron, right? Because they're going to be able to get themselves a pretty decent gold lead. They're going to be able to get a number of towers, and this is good. They're already lining up to siege. CLG is fading backwards, and that'll have an opportunity to take multiple structures on the map. Because even with this burn item, the Leandres, it's going to take them a long time to take down most of these minions. You can see even here, they don't care about the minions. They have a Tapoon on their team, and he's just going to tank turret.
That is a tanky Grog. Is now indexing towards the armor as well, so we'll be able to tank up Team Luke even more. And if you're Team Luke right now, you have to mental reset. That was a rough play, but you still are the win condition. You still are the gold on the team right now, and you need to perform. There's the curtain call. There's the carpet coming in from Rumble as well, but CLG can't find the engage. Ooh, Shockwave, just onto nothing. Pretty zoning out Luke right there. Potluck got that mid turret, but I don't know if Immortals can really push for much more here. They do have another wave, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of swing and misses, right? There's no equalizer, there's no solar flare, so there's not as much threat of engage. Tapoon can always disengage it with his explosive cask. So, I mean, they should be pretty happy.
Ooh, almost goes down to Keith, but now the explosive cast, and Team Luke yet again. Unfortunate right there. Gets caught by the cask and does go down. A flash body sent from Tapoon. Doesn't land onto Brandini. Hits some minions instead. Joey under turret taking it all up. They're just diving straight under these inhibitor turrets despite the fact that they're so low. They finally take it. Tapoon could be in some trouble. Gets chunked out. Man, Immortals, if you just taken the turret, it would have been a much better dive right there. But CLG do fight back.
But they're also going to reward themselves with this dragon because CLG aren't moving over to contest despite how low the number of Immortals members are. And so this is going to be a huge overarching win coming out for Immortals. They pick up the dragon, they grab the Baron, they get 1, 2, 3, 4 turrets off of that. They don't grab any inhibitors, but they still broke the base open, and that's going to make any subsequent siege that much easier.
And Joshi, you highlighted going into this game, Tapoon is one of the, to quote you, you said one of the most impressive top laners in Academy right now. And his casks have been on point so far. He is just insane to watch.
As soon as we say that, we see a an example of him missing. But that's okay. That's okay. The rest of it has been pretty darn good. And he's so tanky. Look at how much extra damage resistance he's able to soak just because he drinks a little bit of Glon, right? I wish I had that kind of effect, but that is not how that works in real life, let me tell you.
I gotta show you some of my friends in Minnesota. I know a few people that have similar effects. But, you know, maybe one day post-quarantine. But overall, I mean, really a great performance from this top laner. I think making an argument further that Immortals is one of the top teams in Academy right now, and Tapoon, one of the top performers on Immortals as well. They're starting the siege on this last mid-tier top turret. CLG, do they want to go for a team fight?
I don't think... Oh, CLG. CLG definitely need to try and find something. You always want to lose like KT. You don't want to lose like Jin. You always want to try and make things happen. And as they start to move forward now with another minion wave, it's rather difficult. There's not a lot of proactive wave clear. There's not a lot of safe wave clear coming out from CLG. They really just got to be ready to take a fight when they see it and not get engaged on.
Hooks flashed away. There's the carpet coming down. Oh, again, the Leona Rumble ult combo not actually locking down Keith. He does get out, but Hooks says, I just want to force the fight. RGS looking for the flank. The Syndra's not quite there to output the damage. Yeah, CLG just not positioned to actually fight in that moment.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a reset and kind of a take two here in just a moment. But the big thing, I'm not really sure what this Rumble's doing, right? Like, it's gotten a couple ultimates to try and snipe people. You said there it didn't land altogether, so they weren't able to take down Keith. But that was 2 ultimates used to stop Jin from ulting. He still has auto attacks, guys. Like, this is a champion that is not that ultimate reliant. You can still have a lot of impact like this.
Oh no, doesn't have the flash anymore. Gets cut out once again. Potluck says, you can't stop me, and runs him down. Another pickup here for Immortals. Tapoon teleports in as well. This is a 5v4 Joshi. CLG, this might be the final defense.
Yeah, Explosive Cast comes up very soon. They have a big opportunity to try and find and engage, so nobody on CLG can walk up, because if anybody else dies, the game is absolutely over. But as long as they stay alive, they might have an opportunity to wave clear, and at least have an opportunity for a better fight than the one they just saw.
Pretty also has Shockwave, so that's multiple tools that can start the fight. Immortals out, not interested necessarily. They don't want to force it. They'll just take the inhibitor. Supers are pushing mid, and they have the inside track on this Baron, which will be spawning soon. Keel, meanwhile, has a flash away. Oh, almost goes down. Joey over the wall. Flash headbutt says, I'm the one that makes things happen. Did you forget? Explosive Cast onto Team Luke. He's got to jump away. Keith says, I'm not interested in the Kaisa. I want to take out the jungler. Baron is on the table. If that smite goes down, that's a free objective for us. And CLG have no vision to play with. They have to walk with this mid wave, but Immortals, they're doing such a good job of cutting it off.
Yeah, grabbing priority in the mid lane. It is going to be very temporary, though, because there are super minions in the way that they will have to deal with, and now they're going to go right on back over to the Baron. This is a tough spot for CLG to really get into. As you said, they have no vision. It is so dark over here. They're just going to have to throw things over the wall and hope for the best, because
Maybe
there's no flash left on Keel.
Maybe that's the big play. Keel ult, Brandini ult, try and burst down the Baron, but no, Joey says, we're just going to take the fight, take you down, Keel. The Graves running away, 1 shot from Jin, 2 shots misses. Hooks, buying time on the front line. Look at Brandini just charging them down. CLG surprisingly doing damage. That's a double kill to Team Luke. This Kaisa, this is the play. This is the fight he wanted. Team Luke bringing it in the final hour with a triple kill. Keith will answer it back, but CLG are still in this game.
Is this enough? No, they're not going to be going for the Baron buff just quite yet, but it buys them enough time. They're not going to be giving over the Dragon Soul on this Dragon. Tapoon and Pollock dead for too long, but finally, Team Luke had a couple of questionable ultimates, but finally has the Collector, finally gets into the right place in order to deal with all of these members, because once all the engage is used onto somebody else, he's able to free fire, and that's what Kaisa does, baby. Oh no, he goes in.
Speaking of, looks for the hero play. Keith low, pretty about half health. Keel is here, has somebody available, so Immortals, they want this dragon. This is Soul. But I don't think that they can do this. Yeah, Brandini drops the ult. Maybe not the best angle there, but at least it pushes back Immortals. Yeah, dragon secured. CLG delaying this game and maybe found a window back into it.
Yeah, I really like this overall. I gotta get a replay at some point because I really want to examine how Team Luke was able to play that. But as you said, game goes on a little longer. Kaisa and Graves have more time to scale, and eventually we're gonna see a fantastic ult from Brandini at some point. But again, pay attention to Team Luke throughout this whole thing. They try and go onto Graves and Syndra. They're both able to get out, but Team Luke, now with nobody hitting him, now just able to turn onto Olaf, turn onto the Gragas, and again, nobody's even looking at him whatsoever until the very end, where you see Joey go in, but there's no damage to follow it up. No threat is ever presented, and they are able to find a triple kill for the Kaisa.
Much needed gold into the pocket of Team Luke means that for this next fight, that's a Runans. That's a full item up now that Team Luke has compared to that last fight. He has matched Keith for items. and he can just output insane DPS if he's able to find a similar play like that. CLG's composition needs to look for these team fights, and that one was immaculate from them. Joey looking for the engage. He's always over this wall, man, every single time, and CLG might just walk into it. They don't realize that they're spotted. It's just hooks. Joey in. Three-man pulverize. Tapoon with the three-man cast. And just like that, RJS out of the fight. It's just going to be Team Luke, but he's got tanks in front of him. Can he burst them down? Not faster than Immortals can. He's locked down now, and it's disaster. Team Luke still manages to get out, but it's not going to be enough. Immortals run through that team fight. It's just Team Luke left alive, and I don't think the AD carry is going to be enough. Pretty's got that shield. He's going to check that brush. Team Luke flashes forward, might have the outplay. One more auto. He actually gets it. This maybe he can hold the line. Who knows?
Oh, it's tough. It's tough.
Hooks up in 15 seconds. Team Luke, he's healing up. He needs a front line. He cannot 1v3 without these turrets, so he just runs in. He goes straight for the damage. He's got the Guardian Angel, and it's not going to be enough, Joshi. Heartbreak for Team Luke. He had such a clutch performance at the end of that game, but it's not quite enough. Immortals just run through CLG.
What a crazy fight to end it all. I was like, oh no, is this a disaster for Immortals? They're all sitting on a ward. They're looking at the solar flare. They're in a corridor for Brandini, but it didn't matter. Joey, once again, coming up big. Three-man pulverize, followed up by the huge explosive cast from Tapoon. Not enough left in the tank for the rest of CLG. So very cool game, actually. And honestly, it might be my favorite one to watch today because there are so many decision points back and forth that made this way closer than I would otherwise expect it to be.
Joey's early roams almost into the throws of that mid game where they were looking for these crazy engages. Then Team Luke says, nope, I'm the one that's going to throw it. But then he comes back later on in the game and has these crazy plays. It was back and forth, and I think we saw some highs, we saw some lows, but overall, we learned so much about these two teams and how they like to fight. And this did turn into one of the banger games of the day. Whew, that definitely delivered. What a way to close it out, Joshi. Immortals, though, I mean, based on that performance, can we still say that they're looking like one of the strongest teams? They are ending 3-1, but they did have to work for it.
They did have to work for it, but I also don't think that's a knock against Immortals all that much. CLG was able to play fairly well, and I think the thing that makes Immortals such a scary team is their willingness to continue looking for these engages. Joey was never discouraged. It's like, that one didn't work, but it's okay, this one will, and they're able to continue making these plays that other teams are simply not prepared for, and it's part of why they are currently 3-1 on the season.
I gotta take a quick break after that one. My hype levels are a little too high. We do have a player interview coming up right after this. We got Joey to talk with about that win. We're gonna send it over to a short break so I can catch my breath and we can unwind towards the end of this day. But you don't want to miss that interview, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back, everybody. I told you it'd be a short break, and we are here ready to go with the support legend himself, Joey, coming off of a hot win against CLG Academy. Joey, that game, that was ups and downs and chaotic and everything that I love in League of Legends. So before we get into the specific questions, how are you doing, man? Let's just do a quick pulse check, quick vibe check. How's Joey doing right now?
I was doing pretty good. I only got nervous after we lost the fight at Bear, and I was like, wait, we might actually lose this one. But then we ended up, being able to fight at the end and make sure that we could lose it out.
Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about that because you seemed so confident throughout pretty much all of the games we have an opportunity to watch you. You're so aggressive, so willing to make calls. I'm just kind of curious, like, what is going through your head as you're, like, sitting in a bush just, like, waiting for people to come around?
I mean, honestly, I just want to try to make the plays now and then, like, dial it back, right? I'd rather be too aggressive than come back on it rather than just be a very passive player. And, like, something I really wanted to come showing in Academy this split was that I could be like a more aggressive player and just really just try to look plays for my team to try to get them ahead.
Honestly, I have to say that is one of the best responses I think I've ever heard in like amateur or academy. Is just like, this is the time to experiment, right? This is the time to show what we're doing. Do you have any plans or like where you're going to be going from here, right? Because I know the season is still early, but like how soon are we going to see you in LCS again?
I mean, it's pretty soon. I got to play LCS for the lock-in tournament with the academy team, plays a couple of LCS scrims because our LCS support wasn't here at the time, so I've been doing like double duty almost. And I felt like I took a lot from those losses and a lot from the wins as well. And I think I understand what I need to be an LCS support, so now it's just working towards that goal, and hopefully I can get there by the end of the split or the end of the year.
Yeah, you've had the opportunity to play with the LCS team and this academy team, but your time with the academy team has been fairly short, because if I remember correctly, your games last week were literally the first games that you had all played as fives. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we played our 2 academy games. That was our first 2 academy games, and then we played 3 LCS games, and that was our first. That was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 games for us.
So what's the difference then now going into week 2 with that experience under the belt?
We still didn't really get that much practice in this week either. We had like 1 day of scrims because I was still helping the LCS team with their scrims and stuff like that, as well as we had like the extended weekend because we did play LCS last weekend, right? So I think this is just like the beginning for Immortals Academy, like we're looking strong out the gate already, and we haven't even really started to mesh as a team. So I think it's pretty clear, we'll keep progressing positively, hopefully, and be one of the top teams in the academy.
All right, awesome to hear. Thanks so much, Joey. We asked this to FlyQuest also, so I want to ask it to you because you're both now 3-1. If you had to power rank yourselves after week 2 compared to the rest of the pack, where would you say Immortals is? Because yesterday, TJ, one of the casters, said that Immortals are definitively the best team. Do you agree with that statement?
Of course. I don't know who's going to be better than us. We looked a little shaky yesterday, and honestly, it should have been a W, but lack of practice, hard comp to execute on. And I think as we just progress to the team, it's going to be very clear that we're the most dominant team in Academy.
All right, I like that confidence. I just want you to know that there are certain reputations on the line for this performance to keep going forward. So best of luck, Joey, going into next week. Congratulations again on the win.
Thanks.
All right, and that is going to do it for week 2, day 2 of the LCS Academy broadcast. Joshi, there were some great games, man. Yeah. This is the first time we've casted in a while, so thanks for being on here with me tonight.
Yeah,
man.
No, it was great. I honestly thought that by and large today was some fantastic games of League of Legends, and I feel like we got to end it with one of the biggest bangers for Academy we might have had so far this split. And I can't wait to see what both these teams are going to be bringing later on, because we have so much more, not just with the Academy, but a lot of these teams are going to having to prove themselves once again in proving grounds where they're going to play against some of the top amateur talent where a lot of them have recently come from.
Exactly. This is the future of NA talent, everybody. Support Academy, support the players, and yes, even support the Oceanic imports. We love them too. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the broadcast. Make sure to tune in next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, same place, and we got more Academy action coming up next week. But that's it for us. Have a great weekend, everybody.